Ho, DDP Yoga Warriors, it's Tenacious T and the place to be, calling at you live from Silver Bullet Station in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, with another face-to-face with the Midwest Strong. This is the ever-growing, ever-learning, ever-changing format of me doing my own little interview sort of stuff with some of the other members of Team DDP Yoga and people that are just in different parts of their journey to tell you, where you've been, where you're going, maybe ink some goals along the way there and have a good time. And on with me right now is one of those people that is destined to be great things. You've seen his videos. He's a very dynamic personality. He's very inspiring, and he's in the DDP Yoga certification program. And he's doing really well. He's got his own challenges and everything here. And I'd like to introduce you to Faron Thebeau. Is it Thebeau? How are you pronouncing your last name correctly so I don't mess it up?
Thebeau.
Thebeau. Okay, we'll say Thebeau.
Thebeau.
Cool. Thebeau.
It is Thebeau, like Tim Tebow. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thebeau. Like, well, you never know because you got
me.
TH, whatever else, the T's and whatever. All right, cool. So do you ever get the old Tebow, the thinking position, the whole that sort of thing, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I break that out every once in a while. I don't know if there's any relation there, but he won't accept my Facebook friend request.
Oh, well, football people like that, football stars let that get to their head, whatever. But okay, that's non-DDP related, but it's a lot of fun anyways, right? So, Faron, tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me, how did you get started? Start from the beginnings. What brought you up to this point?
Well, I've been fairly athletic most of my life. That was never a problem. Although I've been overweight for the second half of my life. Let me go all the way back to the beginning, and I'll bring you up to where I'm at in DDP.
Sure.
Weight has always been an issue for me, but it's been on two different extremes. I've never eaten correctly in my life. When I was a child, very stubborn. And I wouldn't eat. My parents tried to make me eat. I had a cycle of 5 foods. I would eat potatoes, either mashed or fried, bacon, peanut butter, and cereal. And I just cycled it around on that. And so when I graduated high school, I was a good basketball player, but I was 6'2" and about 165 pounds, just skin and bones. Somewhere along the way, I figured out I liked food, and I went all the way from the one extreme of being a skeleton to the next thing I knew, I was 240, 250. And by the time I caught myself, I was 310 pounds. Wow. And I've never learned to really control my eating. I've bounced back and forth, but on exercise. At one point in time, I dropped 80 pounds, but I was running 7 miles a day, 6 days a week in order to do that. And my body just kept breaking down. And eventually, I herniated a disc in my back. I was trying to do some CrossFit style stuff. I was flipping a 300-pound tractor tire and herniated my back, had arthritis set in, and I got to where I couldn't move at all. My baby girl, my first child, was born, and I couldn't pick her up. They had to hand her to me. I couldn't bend down to get her, and I'd lost all strength. The doctor tried to medicate me. He'd give me a pill, and it would knock me out at midnight and leave me asleep until noon the next day. And I would still walk around like I was high for the next couple hours. And so finally the doctor said, look, there's nothing I can do for you other than surgery. And I didn't have insurance at the time. I have it now. But he said, the only thing I can suggest to you is find some yoga. And so like everybody else, I went to searching and I found Arthur's video. That's how we all got here. Arthur's video, and I ordered the disc and started the program, and it was a slow go at first. Matter of fact, I sent a message off to Dallas himself. For the first couple of weeks I'd been doing the yoga, and it kept hurting. It seemed like I was getting worse for a couple of weeks, and Dallas sent me back and said, you got to listen to your body. If you need to take a couple days off between the workouts right now, take them off until you get strong enough to do them every day. And I listened to Dallas, and so I've gotten past that. I can bend, and I have strength. Like, I couldn't believe I can do forehead stands and hands, working on handstands, and I can do wrap and burn and bird of paradise. I got all of that. But the one thing I still haven't got under control is the diet. And so that's the next thing that I've set up. I've got, between now and the end of the year, I'm sitting at 256 pounds, and I want to get myself down to 220 by the time I get to the end of the year. But that's kind of where I'm at and how I got to here.
Huh. Okay. Cool. So so you started. You said you started around 300 pounds there. So you've lost about 50 pounds up to this point for you've been in it for the last year, or?
Yeah. No. Let me correct that. I got up to 310 at one point, and then that's when I started running and doing all that. I was running 7 miles a day, and I dropped down, and I got around. When I started the DDP program, I was up around 270 at that point. And so I've lost more inches than I've lost pounds, because I've gained a lot of muscle strength, but I've lost about 25 pounds in there, and I've still got another 20 some odd to go. My problem has been, like I say, I've built strength and I've built the flexibility, but it's like Dallas says, you can't out train a bad diet.
Right.
And doing all the DDP yoga in the world and still eating a large pizza and an order of breadsticks doesn't lead to a whole ton of weight loss. And so I've been picking up little things here and there. You told me that you started with one thing at a time, and so I've cut back soda and cut back on little things here and there. Frank Schlegel and Kat Arnett, they got me onto juicing a little bit, and so I work a little of that in there. And a little bit of time I've been picking up the pieces, and I think I got all the pieces of the puzzle together now to work on it and get the weight loss to catch up with the strength and the flexibility.
Cool. That's you sound like you got a great plan in place there to like I've always said there, to start slow and little bits at a time. And because when you do have weekends, because you were just up and visiting family in Missouri here recently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir. That was not a good eating week.
And it never really is with family, unless you're really strong in what you're doing. And if you're still in the baby dose phase of changing your habits, when you get into rougher territory, the legs get a lot wobbler and you're going to fall down a lot more.
Exactly.
So that sort of stuff, totally fine. And that's why I always recommend starting slow, starting small, because when you start small, you're not falling as far to the ground, and it's easier to pick yourself back up again.
Yeah.
No, you're doing great. Do you find it easier to kind of pick back up where you left after a week of enjoying yourself with the family, as I like to think?
Yeah, it was. We come back home and we started laying out the meal plan. My wife, along with me, she's been starting the DDP yoga program as well recently, and we kind of started planning out our meals and kind of fell right back into it. And so it's going a lot easier, a lot better.
Awesome. So then, so you're getting into this. You're kind of, from everything you're telling me here, it sounds like you're still kind of young into the program. You said you've been doing this for, has it been a year, or has it been?
Yeah, it's been a year and a few months. I started in April of last year, but I didn't really kick it into real serious until about August of last year. So being serious, I've got about a year.
About a year. Okay, well that's good for a year. You're just it's a good start. So so we got up to this point. What got you to look into the certification side of things? Where did you come in with that?
Well, there were two things really that started along. Of course, I saw some other people starting to do it. I would always see the Midwest Strong videos.
Sure.
Knew about that. And then I saw Rev Kev Tankersley started into the program. Kristen Pasquille was started in about that time. And I saw some people doing it and started investigating it. And there were two main reasons that I signed up. Number one, I'm a pastor at a church, and there are several people that struggle with weight problems and with joint problems in the church. And I thought that would be a natural extension, a kind of way to extend the ministry, to be able to start a DDP yoga program within the church and help people. That was one reason. But the other reason was for accountability for myself, because I would have the tendency to kind of stop and go, kick it into high gear for a couple months, back off for a couple months. And I wanted that accountability to where I was working towards something and would have that stopgap in there to keep me from kind of pulling back. And now that I'm working on this level 1 certification, word comes out level 2 certifications in the works. And so there's going to be that natural progression that can keep us moving forward.
Right. Yep. And I find too, as far as the certification goes there and teaching, being a certified instructor, it's, the adage comes in there, the easiest way to be happy is to help other people be happy.
Yeah.
Or as Dallas has put it, he gives a Zig Ziglar quote: "You can have anything you want, so long as you help other people get what they want."
Exactly.
And so that's one thing for me, because I personally don't have a big class. I'm building it slow by slow, brick by brick. But the people that do have, as students and everything, they love the workout. They can't talk enough about it, and that's the only really workout they do.
Yeah.
So I totally understand where you're coming from as far as reach out with your congregation and everything. How have you done anything with your congregation yet, or as far as it goes?
I'm getting ready to start in with them on that. I've got the group signed up. I've got about 7 people right now that are on board and say they will do it. What I'm doing is polishing up my level 1. I want to do it well before I take it live to face-to-face with people. So I've been doing it with my family online and by myself. I'm working through a couple of issues that I didn't expect. One is just getting it set in my mind so that I know what I'm doing without having to look at paper prompts so much. But the other thing that surprised me, Dallas always says that when you talk out loud, it's like a free ride for kicking your heart rate up. And he's right. I go through the level 1 program by myself. I can do the level 1 workout and not have to modify anything, and my heart rate's right where it needs to be. But when I'm calling it out as the instructor, all of a sudden with calling it out and breathing gets out of whack and I'm putting extra energy in, my heart rate wants to jump to 160, 170, and I've got to really, really back it off.
Right.
So I want to get that all under control, and I'm hoping within the next month to start the classes live at the church.
Cool. That's great. So let's step back for a second here. So what challenges, what do you find throughout your journey? You say your biggest challenge at this point has been the food. What do you say about the food for you is the most challenging to change?
It's more of really an addiction than anything. It's the way I liken it to. I don't eat because I'm hungry. I eat because I like to eat. I like taste.
Sure.
And so, I'm sitting up. I have a lot of trouble sleeping. And Robert Kaplan, who is certified as a nutritionist, I've been talking to him some. And what he's telling me, one of my problems is I'm awake too long. I have trouble sleeping, and I may sleep 4, 5, 6 hours a night. And that leaves all of that gap open where you're awake and your body says, hey, go get something to eat. I'm sitting down watching TV. Okay, I'm bored watching TV. I want something sweet. Now I want something salty to get the sweet out of my mouth. And it's more just a habit than anything else. And so getting control of that, because once the thought gets into my mind, it would be nice to have something sweet. Then my stomach goes, yeah, you know what? I am hungry. And I'm really not hungry. It just wants to jump on board. And so getting control of that and backing it off, getting a glass of water, sipping it until I get that under control, or something like that, making a healthier choice. Those have been the issues. Just being aware of what's going on and what's triggering me to want to eat.
Right. So it's a lot more, it's not more of a mental thing. It's a mental game of trying
Definitely.
to gauge where you're at and try to, balance sleep with the wake time and eating and kind of plan a lot more stuff out. Do you journal your food stuff at all?
I have not, but I'm starting. I downloaded an app for the phone and getting ready to start on that. That's the next thing. We've started planning out the menus, and then to journal the food as well is the next thing we have to do. It's a matter of discipline, and it's just getting that through my head, because I have discipline. I can make myself go out and do all the exercises. I can make myself bend my toes into the ground and lean backward and bow and arrow, even if it hurts, because I know it's helping. I can
Right.
hold bow and arrow when my legs are, or I can hold wrap and burn when my legs are burning, because I know it's doing good. I have the mental discipline to do that. I just got to translate that over to the appetite now and say, you know what, I'm taking control of this part of my life too.
Right. Yep. And all is going to work all back around as far as timing goes between eating and working out and trying to fit everything together into one, smooth flowing machine, basically, to make
Yeah.
things go. And it's going to be times where you're gonna hit those plateaus and everything like that. I chatted with Angie Vinzand, an earlier guest of mine, and
Yeah.
she's saying, after a year and a lot of weight loss, she's finally hitting a plateau at this point. Trying to get that. One of her doctors and chiropractors did a body test, and she says, and Paul told her, well, you can easily probably lose another 30 pounds there. It's that last 30 pounds that she's
Yeah.
getting to. She's like going, it's that little extra push that what do we need to do to break through that barrier
Yeah.
to make that change?
And
So,
that's the thing for me that encourages me a little bit, Travis, is realizing that everybody's on that same journey. You take Angie Vincent. She's had an amazing story. I mean, you take a look at her pictures from a year ago and to where she is now, and she took a little bit different route and different road to get into where she's at, but she's owned it. She's done the work. She's did the DDP yoga. She's gotten control of the diet, and she's lost a ton of weight, gotten a lot of strength, and she still has to hit that plateau and has to work through that. And so it doesn't matter how successful the person been or what they're doing. All of us are going to have that little mountain we've got to get over the top of at some point. And it's just having the determination to say, I'm going to keep on going. I can do this.
right.
And so when I see or hear something like that about Angie, that encourages me.
That's awesome. So then, for those people that are watching, who are going to take the time to watch this video and everything, are just starting their journey, Faron, what would be the biggest, the biggest and the best advice that you can give to somebody just starting out?
You got to make up your mind what you're going to do. Look, here's the deal. The body is capable of a lot more than what the mind tells us that it is. If you're a runner, that's what I used to do. I was a runner before I started having all the back trouble. And there's something called a runner's high. And almost every runner, doesn't matter what level they're at, those first 2 miles, they feel like they're dying because the body doesn't want to run no matter how good you are at it. It doesn't, the mind says, no, go home and sit down. And
Right.
so if you can get that under control when you're starting out this journey, don't look at somebody that's been in it for 2 years or 3 years and say, I'm going to go out and stand on my head tomorrow. I'm going to do Black Crow for a minute tomorrow and get discouraged and quit. You make up your mind, I'm starting the program today and I'm going to keep at it however long it takes me and at whatever level I'm going to do it. This is what I've got determined. I'm going to do it and follow through. If it takes you longer, it takes you longer. If you're a super athlete and you kick in and you're like a duck to water and you take off going, that's great. Set new goals. But you got to have that mental discipline when you start out because it's going to be harder than what you think. You're excited when you get the disc in the mail. You're excited when you push play. But then when you're halfway through that 3-count push-up and you know Dallas is actually going 5 counts when it's supposed to be 3, And you're thinking, there's that point where you just want to quit and forget it. And hey, tomorrow I'm not going to do it. But no, you've got to start before anything with the mental. And if you get the mental under control and have that determination, I am going to do this, then there's nothing the physical can't do. That's what I want to call, once I'm a certified instructor, I want to call what I do sin barreras, in Spanish, as no limits fitness. That there is nothing we can't do if we have the passion and the determination to go out and do it. And so that's what I'd say for somebody starting out. Just mentally get locked in and determine, no matter what, I'm doing this.
Yeah, and you had a really good video, for those people that are on the DDP Yoga Facebook page. You had a really good video earlier today on starting small, and using stuff I've talked with, you and I have talked about there, of starting with the small stuff, not worrying about doing Bird of Paradise, Black Crows, Psycho push-ups, and whatever the case is, all the extra cool looking advanced moves and everything. But the simple movements are those that are the ones that are the most effective, that we that almost feel like they're throwaway, but they're not.
They're not. Look, I'll tell everybody this. I talked to Travis. I talked to you last week while I was at my family, because I got off track. I hadn't been doing the workouts. Me and my brother, my brother's been on it about a year or two. I got him started on the DDP yoga, and we played around and did some headstands and stuff like that, but I hadn't been working out. And I talked to you and told you I was having trouble with time and everything else. And Travis sent me an 8-minute workout, and you can find it on his Midwest Strong Fitness channel. It's all plank. It's all built on the plank, side plank, walk the alligator, 8 minutes. And all it is a plank, one of the most basic moves that we can do. And it kicked my butt. I'm here to tell you, and I've been doing it ever since I got back. It's building extra strength. It's giving me strength in my shoulders that I need, strength in my core, strength in my chest. Those little things that we take for granted are the things we need. They're the building blocks. And so for the person that's starting out with energy, and you've been on energy for 2 weeks, and you think you ought to be doing double black diamond, or forget that stuff. Matt Kuntz, I think his testimony of DDP yoga is that his main workout's fat burner. That guy's lost 100 plus, nearly 200 pounds. It's getting that basic stuff and doing what you can do.
Right.
And then all the rest is gravy.
Arthur Borman, I mean, if you go back and listen to some of his interviews on DDP Radio, which tomorrow night, for those people who are watching it, today, this is Tuesday, tomorrow night, another DDP Yoga Radio program there at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Listeners, go back and download, the Arthur Borman interviews. He says that his main workout every day is fat burner. That's his go-to workout, because he's a teacher, and he gets up in the morning, 25 minutes of working out and getting going first thing in the morning, because his logic is, doesn't do it in the morning, it doesn't get done, which is all cool and all great and everything, and everyone's going to be a little bit different. So, but it's just finding that time, whether it's early in the morning, late in the evening, sometime during the day, make the time to get it done. And if you can do that, everything's momentum forward. So
awesome.
That's great. That's really cool, and I'm really happy that you're taking some of that stuff there and making it your own. And that's the thing there, is making the stuff your own and finding your own groove to do what you need to do to achieve those goals and reach for the next level up. So in that respect, Faron, what do you see yourself going within the next year as far as your DDP yoga goes?
Well, there's a couple different things. One of it is I want to use it for the weight end of the spectrum to continue that discipline. But beyond that, I got a couple things. I want to finish my level 1 instructor, and I want to accomplish the level 2 instructor. Those are goals. But then beyond that, I'm looking at my children. I've got my daughter and my son. Maybe I'm sexist with the dreams I've got for them, and we'll see what their desires are to do. But my little daughter, she's already, every time I do yoga, she gets down. She's 19 months old and she's figured out how to do a little flip. She gets down on her head. When I do my yoga, I'm doing down dog. She gets on her head, kicks her feet, and flips over. And she's doing her yoga at 19 months.
There you go.
You know, and so I want to be able to do that stuff with her, so she can go, if she wants to do dancing, acrobatics, whatever she wants to do, she'll be strong and flexible. But the other thing, I've got my 6-month-old son, and man, that guy's a ball of energy. He started flipping over at 1 week old, and he rolls all over. He's crawling. He's a ball of energy, and I want to use my DDP yoga instructorship now that it's got my body functioning well again. You know, I still have days because there's arthritis in my back. When the cold front moves in, I hurt.
Sure.
But that goes through, and most days I function at 100%. Now I can do things. I want to use the DDP yoga instructorship to maybe get into a MMA gym. Then maybe I can do some trade off and do some DDP yoga instructing in the MMA gym and get the lessons, so that me and my son, whether it be some karate, some jujitsu, or whatever form it may be, like you and your son do, bonding with each other, I can begin expanding out and do some of that stuff again. Play back. I used to love basketball. My back hadn't let me play basketball in years. So I want to take that DDP yoga, keep it moving, keep that flexibility so I can play basketball, teach my son how to play.
That's
where I'm heading from here.
Cool. If I may recommend, talk about getting that with your son. I would say, do that with both. My personal thing is do it. Don't leave your daughter behind when it comes to doing MMA stuff there. Do it for both of them, because as much as it's good bonding with the son and everything. There are women and there are girls I work with in judo and in my dojo that are highly motivated and do very well. Now with the whole advent of Ronda Rousey and everything like that,
She's awesome.
Yeah, to be able, if for nothing else, to be able to give your daughter the tools she needs to be able to handle herself should a situation arise.
Because if my daughter's lucky and she looks more like her mom than she looks like me, I want her to be able to defend herself. She's going to be a pretty girl.
Yep.
And then, so you're right. It gives that self-confidence. So you're right on that.
Yeah, just being able to handle yourself and do whatever you need to do. And if you do the stuff, the DDP yoga stuff with your kids and everything, because that's the biggest thing. Whether I'm doing judo with my son, and he will do DDP yoga with me as well, at least once or twice a week. During my live classes, it's that bonding time, doing stuff together and being active together that is priceless. So fortunately, for you, you've got starting them young is great, because you build those habits early. They're just going to carry them through, and that momentum is just going to keep on rolling forward. So
that's the hope.
So do you have any final words? You haven't done any other interviews or anything like that, have you? As far as
no, I've talked to Eric Thacker's talked to me, and sometime in October, I think we're going to do an Believe to Achieve television thing. But this is my first.
Okay.
This is my first time around.
I'm gonna also point Nolan Bob at he's got the Choose and Change podcast, and I think you and Nolan together, doing a podcast interview or whatever else is golden. And he'll get probably a lot more in depth than what I even went there, because he goes for the feel good moments. He goes not just for the feel good. They hit you in the feels kind of moments there.
He likes to get the tear squeezed out of the eye. Yeah.
Yeah, and I it gets done. I don't think of it as tears. I think it's just getting dusty in the room, and
there you go.
Allergies going
way of looking at it.
Cool.
That's what I would expect. I call you the Chuck Norris of the DDP yoga world, and so I don't expect Chuck Norris cries. That's just getting dusty.
I just I would say I would take that, except I can't grow nearly the beard that Chuck Norris grows there. I try to grow a beard and it goes horribly awry. I can grow lamb chops is about the closest thing I'm going to get, but you take it for what you will, I suppose.
But I'm fortunate to be able to grow the beard. My wife won't let me shave it off. Apparently I'm a little uglier underneath this thing.
Well, my wife likes it, and doing the North Shave November, whatever else. It's just a hang up for me, between not being able to grow facial hair. I grow hair on top of my head just fine. It's just that the hair on top of my head bugs the heck out of me, so it's just easier to go a little stone cold, as it were, and just
there you go,
grow and stay clean. So cool.
If I could just throw in one extra thing, Travis, last thing I'd say.
Sure.
If you're new and you're just getting into this thing, take advantage of the community. Look, the community is the selling point. We're not perfect. There are problems. Today, there was a little bit of an issue that popped up on the boards, and that will happen from time to time because it's growing just in the boards, and the boards doesn't represent the whole universe of DDP yoga, but there's 8,100 or 200 some odd people. And as it grows, there'll be some problems, but the community is the power behind DDP yoga. There's positivity and there's accountability and some challenge that goes on with it. Now, at the beginning, you can feel lost. I've been here a year. You've been here a couple of years. And so we know some of the history. We know some of the people, and you can rattle it off. And so I have a personal relationship with some of these people already, and we can bounce off each other. And some of the people that I don't know. I'm just starting to know Nolan. You know Nolan well. Josh McAdoo. That's one I don't know, and some of those guys. And so it's maybe intimidating for somebody coming in at the first, and I don't know who this guy is or who that is. And I try to put a question out there, and I don't get as many comments as Travis does, or my video doesn't get as many views as another person. Don't worry about that. Just get into the community. If you don't know anybody, find the people that inspire you. That's the first thing I did when I came in and started getting serious. That was when Kevin Tankersley started kicking his journey into high gear. And I watched that guy. He started out, and he was bigger and heavier than me. And then one day I'm looking at his videos, and he's skinnier than me, and he's doing stuff. And I said, I want to see what that guy's doing. Right. And I started watching, before I ever got you on as a mentor and reached out to you, I started seeing Midwest Strong videos that gave tips on how to engage, on how to do push-ups. And I would do those. And then later on, there's a guy, Frank Schlegel. Frank Schlegel is my nemesis. I say that. He's one of my best friends on the DDP yoga board, but that guy's always one step ahead of me. He always does something a day before I do. I have one herniated disc in my back. He's got two. He's always ahead of me. But I look at him, and there's another guy, Jack Quarantillo. These guys, I watch what they're doing, and it makes me say, I want to go try and do that. And through doing that, through watching people from a distance, I start reaching out and talking to people. You get to know some people, and you develop your circle of friends. Nathan Munsell, and more, whoever it is. Mike Knuckles is a guy that I've started making, that has been an encouragement to me. And then other people I don't really know very well, but Lexi, Lexi, she's an you just watch her journey, and it makes you want to jump out and do stuff because she's doing this. And so take advantage of the community. If you don't know anybody, follow some people. And as you begin to feel comfortable, reach out and make friends. And the community is going to propel you on to greater things than you ever would have dreamed you could do. Look, I'm still heavy. I'm 256 pounds. I still have a herniated disc in my back, but I can stand on my head. And that's DDP yoga. And it's because other people encouraged me and pushed me. And so that would be my final word I'd give, just to take advantage of the community.
And to build on that too, Faron, is that, there's also the website, the Team DDP Yoga website.
Yeah.
And that's actually where I started. I didn't get on the Facebook stuff for quite a while in my journey. I just did YouTube videos, just a little bit of what I called, the project keg to a six-pack because I was sporting more of a keg than I was a six-pack of abs there. So that was my first project, was that. And I utilize a lot of Team DDP Yoga. So if you guys haven't had a chance to go out and see that or get into that, it's free to sign up. It doesn't cost you anything. They got a lot of, there's a lot of good networking, and I've met a lot of great people on Team DDP Yoga. A few of those people happen to be working at the Performance Center right now, as in Christina Russell, and or go there on a regular basis, like Liz Collins. So but they all start somewhere. So
they do. Yeah, Christina Russell, Travis, not to interrupt you, but that was one that blew my mind. When I started doing DDP yoga, I would always look for videos, and I would look, for what somebody would review on Diamond Cutter and what somebody would say about Below the Belt. And Christina Russell's videos always showed up. And she wasn't in great shape at the time she was doing those videos. She was just starting, and she was trying to do them. And I would watch, and I say, this girl is doing it. I think I can do it. And then one day I'm on the boards and checking it out, and I come to realization Christina Russell's one of the head instructors at the Performance Center. She took that journey all the way through, and I think you call her one of the hardcore sisters. Look, there's not hardly anybody in the DDP universe that can do what that girl does. And so it's amazing. You can follow people's journeys either here in Facebook, or if you get on the DDP Yoga, Team DDP Yoga webpage, wherever you fit in and however you can do it, get in there, take advantage of it, and be encouraged.
That's right. Great. Well, Faron, I really thank you for sitting down with me and talk with me over on this, on my face-to-face stuff here. You are always a very inspiring. You've got such a presence to you, and you always, no matter if the short videos that you have there, whether it's a 3-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute talk on whatever's on your mind, I always come away from your videos inspired and have a spark in me. That's why I know that you are going to be, when you got the level 1 certification down, and when we all got the level 2 stuff there, you are going to own that, and you are going to take that to great heights. So I really
appreciate it. That's a big encouragement to me, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. I'm going to end the show here, guys. Again, if you need to see me, or if you have any questions for me, or if you have any comments or anything there, shoot me a comment on this video. Find me on Facebook, Midwest Strong Fitness, or Travis Roberts. I'm easy to find. You can shoot me a message on Twitter if you're on those Twitter machines at MWS Fitness. The MW, the S, and the F are all capitalized. If you want to shoot me, if you want to friend me on Twitter or follow me on Twitter, you got that. And on Sundays, as a reminder, that's where I always pull out the Midwest Strong Silver Bowl Express. So if you're looking for a little bit of a challenge on a Sunday and take that fast track to Sweaty Town, as Faron will tell you, if you want the challenge, there it is. It's always something different, always something exciting. So
you will modify.
You will yes, I can guarantee you somewhere along the road you will modify, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So thank you once again, Faron, and thank you to everybody watching. Don't forget to do your DDP yoga and own this day, because I guarantee you, if you own this day, own this moment, own this breath, one little thing at a time, you will own your life. Bang! See you later.
Take it easy, Travis.